most people think they are losing motivation. But motivation was never the real problem. The real problem is this: their brain is slowly losing the ability to focus. And the terrifying part is, most people will not realize it is happening until they can no longer sit alone with their own mind. No one suddenly wakes up mentally exhausted. No one suddenly becomes emotionally reactive, restless, distracted, unable to concentrate, or dependent on constant stimulation overnight. It happens quietly and day after day. Scroll after scroll, escape after escape. Every time boredom appears and you immediately reach for your phone, every time life feels uncomfortable and you distract yourself instead of facing it, every time your mind gets a moment of silence and you rush to fill it with noise, your brain is learning from all of it. Because the brain adapts to repetition. It does not care whether you call something relaxing, taking a break, or just one more video. Your brain only sees patterns, and whatever you repeat long enough becomes your default state. If you repeat distraction, focus becomes harder. If you repeat stimulation, silence becomes uncomfortable. If you repeat comfort, difficulty starts feeling unbearable. That is how people slowly lose control of their attention without realizing it is happening, and modern life is accelerating the process. For the first time in history, millions of people wake up and hand their attention to algorithms before they even fully wake up themselves. Some people touch their phone before they speak to another human being, before they think, before they breathe slowly, before they ask themselves how they actually feel. They are already consuming, scrolling, watching, reacting, escaping, and the longer a person lives this way, the harder it becomes to think deeply. That is why so many people now struggle to finish books, focus deeply, control emotions, stay disciplined, sit quietly without stimulation, or even think clearly for more than a few minutes. Not because they are weak, and not because they lack intelligence, but because their brain has been trained to avoid stillness, avoid discomfort, and avoid deep thought. The dangerous part is this: most people mistake overstimulation for relaxation. A person can spend years damaging their attention span while believing they are simply unwinding. Until one day they sit down to work and cannot focus. They open a book and feel restless after 2 pages. They sit in silence for a few minutes and suddenly feel anxious. Their brain starts begging for stimulation, another scroll, another notification, another video. And eventually silence itself starts feeling painful. That is when the problem becomes serious. Because the issue is no longer your phone. The issue is that your mind has forgotten how to exist without constant stimulation. But the good news is this: the brain can recover. Attention can recover. Mental clarity can recover. But only if you stop feeding the habits that are destroying them. Habit 1. Learn to sit in silence again. Modern people are almost never mentally alone anymore. The moment silence appears, they try to escape it. With music, podcasts, scrolling, videos, and constant background noise. Most people cannot stand in line for 30 seconds without touching their phone, not because the phone is important, but because silence now feels unfamiliar. The brain never gets time to reset. And when the mind never slows down, clarity slowly disappears. That is why so many people feel mentally overwhelmed, even in quiet environments. Their mind is overstimulated, but under-recovered. So start small. A few minutes every day with no stimulation, no phone, no music, no content, and no distractions. Just sit, walk, observe, and think. At first, your brain will resist. You will feel restless, uncomfortable, maybe even anxious. That reaction reveals something important. Your mind has become dependent on stimulation. But silence is where mental recovery begins. Some of the clearest thoughts of your life will appear only after the noise disappears. Habit 2. Do difficult things even when you do not feel like it. This is where mental strength is built. Modern life has conditioned people to expect instant rewards, constant entertainment, and immediate comfort. So the moment something becomes difficult, the brain wants to escape. That is why people start books but never finish them, make plans but never follow through, feel motivated for a few days, and then disappear. Not because they are lazy, but because their brain has lost tolerance for discomfort. And a person who cannot tolerate discomfort slowly becomes controlled by emotion. Every time you avoid something difficult, your brain learns avoidance. Every time you continue despite discomfort, your brain learns resilience. That is why small moments matter so much. Reading when your mind wants distraction, working when you feel lazy, exercising when motivation disappears, or waking up when your body wants comfort. These moments seem insignificant, but they quietly reshape identity. Because every repeated action teaches the brain something. This is who we are. And eventually, discipline stops feeling forced. It becomes automatic. Habit 3. Protect your attention like your future depends on it, because it does. Attention is one of the most valuable resources in the modern world, and everything is competing for it. Apps are engineered to keep you scrolling. Algorithms are engineered to keep you consuming, and notifications are engineered to interrupt your thinking. Because the longer your attention is controlled, the harder it becomes to think independently. And many people no longer suffer from lack of intelligence. They suffer from fractured attention. Their mind jumps constantly, yeah? One message, one notification, one short video, another tab, another distraction. The brain never stays still long enough to think deeply. And deep thinking is where clarity, creativity, discipline, self-control, and meaningful ideas are born. A distracted mind becomes reactive. A focused mind becomes powerful. Because once you regain control of your attention, you slowly regain control of your life. So train focus like a skill. Even 20 uninterrupted minutes of concentration every day can slowly rebuild your attention span. One task, one goal, no multitasking, no phone. At first, your brain will resist, but eventually something changes. Your thoughts become clearer, your emotions become calmer, and your mind stops feeling chaotic. Because focus is not just productivity, focus is control. Habit 4. Your environment shapes your mind more than motivation ever will. People often blame themselves for lacking discipline, but many times the real problem is the environment around them. If your phone is always beside you, you will check it. If your room is full of distractions, your focus will suffer. If your environment is chaotic, your mind slowly becomes chaotic too. The brain adapts to whatever surrounds it repeatedly. That is why small environmental changes can create massive psychological changes over time. A cleaner workspace, less digital clutter, more quiet, and more distance from constant stimulation. These things seem simple, but they quietly reshape behavior every single day, because self-control becomes easier when temptation is not constantly in front of you. Habit 5. Stop waiting to feel ready before taking action. This destroys more potential than failure ever will. Most people wait to feel motivated, confident, inspired, or fully prepared before they begin changing their life. But readiness rarely comes first. Action comes first. Confidence is built through action. Discipline is built the same way. So is momentum. The people who transform their lives are usually not the most motivated, Joth. They simply stop negotiating with every emotion they feel. They understand something powerful. Feelings are temporary, but repeated actions become identity. Some days you will feel focused. Some days your mind will feel exhausted. Some days you will want to quit, but growth happens when you continue anyway. Because your brain is always adapting, always changing, always becoming something. The real question is, what are you training it for? Distraction or focus? Comfort or discipline? Noise or clarity? Because every habit is teaching your brain how to think, how to react, and how to live. And eventually your thoughts become actions. Your actions become identity. And your identity becomes your life. The scariest part is not that technology is distracting you. It is that one day you may wake up and realize you have spent years feeding your mind non-stop stimulation without ever giving yourself the silence required to truly hear your own thoughts again. Thank you all for sticking with me until the very end of this video. If you found these insights helpful, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any future content. Most importantly, if you are currently facing any challenges or problems in your life, please don't hesitate to share them in the comments section below. I'm always here to listen, and we can work together to find the best solutions. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.